Good evening. Welcome to our holiday open house. We're excited to welcome our students, families, and staff and public to the boardroom this evening. In keeping with the holiday spirit, this evening we're featuring Kent Lake Jazz Combo under the direction of Mr. John Armanita. We're very grateful for Dr. White to help make this occasion even more special by bringing these talented students to our boardroom this evening. For those of you who are watching via live stream, we thank you for taking the time to be with us, and let the festivities begin. We will see you all shortly.
it up this time too. What was the fire show last time? I don't know what you guys do. Relax. That's the last song sped up by like 30 clicks. So just relax a little bit. Just like da 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 ba 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 ba. A 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4.
So we have one now.
Yeah, now we have a This is Liam on trombone. Clarinet. Jackson on saxophone here. Jackson is just learning about improvisation and how chord structures work within the last about 4 weeks as well. So all these guys are doing a really good job. They're all pretty green, which is amazing because they're very open to new ideas. I don't know if you noticed, but I was actually throwing new things at them that we've not rehearsed before. The trading with drums thing, that was just now that I taught them. I got Alan on drum set back there. Sammy, our wonderful bass player, also plays in our pep band and is our low frequency extraordinaire for all of our ensembles.
Well, they say the true definition of a jazz musician is someone who never plays anything the same way once. And so we definitely live that tonight. In 1979, Congress declared jazz to be a national treasure. And it's nice to see these young students stepping up to preserve our national treasure, which is great. So on behalf of Superintendent Vela and our Associate Superintendent of Teaching and Learning, Dr. Rebecca Kim, and my Executive Director, Dr. Christine Carbley, and myself, and everyone that's here in the room, we want to thank you for stepping up for us and providing the festivities for our evening. Once again, let's give a big round of applause for John O'Melina and his partner, Jazz Combo. Thank you. I'll help you clear things out.
Nice job, Gigi. Tear down.
Still out there? Okay. So I'm in touch.
Thank you for reading that. Give some advice on the saxophone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, my alto saxophone.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but I think I will. Yeah, we. Yeah, it's up there at 6. Then we do executive session.
Take the drum set apart here in the hallway, okay? Take the drum set apart here.
Fun. Go Kent. Yeah, from Kent Ridge.
Wow.
Good evening. Thank you all for being here. We will be going live in just a moment, so if we could have the boardroom come to a silence. We'll have the board call to order and adjourn to executive session. Thank you.
Hello, welcome back. Our holiday open house has ended. We want to thank everyone who joined us and do a special thanks for the Kent Lake Jazz Combo for sharing their musical talents with us, and to their director, Mr. John Ermanita, for supporting their participation. And obviously thanking Dr. White and Dr. Kim for their support in the student presentation today. It says give a round of applause, but no one's here. But we still want to thank them all for being here, and thanks to all of them but they're gone. But we thank you all for everything you've done. It was a great performance. But now we want to adjourn for an executive session for approximately 30 minutes. The purpose of the executive session is to discuss with legal counsel potential litigation and the legal or financial risks of a course of action. And we'll be back at 6:30. Good evening. It is 6:30, and I'm going to call this regular meeting to order. Director Hamada is absent and excused, and Board Director-elect Mr. Andy Song will be attending the meeting via Zoom. I'm going to start with the roll call. At this time, the board will take roll call for attendance. I will call each board member's name, and if they're present, they'll say something that they're here. Director Clark.
Present.
Director Farah.
Present.
We know Director Hamada is absent and excused, and Vice President Margell.
Present.
And myself, Mr. Benno, I am here. I'm going to go ahead and ask Vice President Margell to say the pledge.
Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome again. This is a meeting of the Kent School District Board, which is held in public to comply with the Open Public Meetings Act. We welcome the participation of the public in this board meeting and thank those of you who have come to this meeting and those who are viewing via the live stream. The purpose of the board meetings is for the board to conduct its business in public. During the meeting, the board will listen to but not respond to comments for the visitors. Individuals with items to the board or superintendent must provide the items directly to safety services staff. Approaching the dais during the board meeting is not allowed. Any items turned in will be provided to the board and superintendent following the meeting. Those wishing to comment must complete a comment card and turn it in either before the meeting or no later than the beginning of the superintendent's report. No cards will be accepted once this report has begun and you turn in the cards. I never know where in the back, somewhere in the blue box there. So that's where you need to do that if you haven't already. Visitors who have completed a comment card indicating a desire to speak to an agenda item will be called at that portion of the agenda. There is a brief delay in the live stream audio. We'll allow for extra time for you to make your way to the boardroom if you're in an overflow room. When it's your turn to address the board, please state your first and last name at the start of your testimony. Public comments will be heard after the opening during preliminary communication from the audience at specific agenda items and during final communication from the audience. Students will be the first to speak on any topic. Please limit your remarks to 3 minutes. You'll hear a timer when 3 minutes are up. Please do not use specific names of staff or students or personal identifiable information. Abuse of public comments personally directed toward staff or board members will not be tolerated. The president may interrupt or terminate an individual statement when it's too lengthy, obscene, or irrelevant, but I promise I'll be very nice about it. And per board procedure, written material to provide board members with background information should be submitted to the superintendent's office at least 1 week in advance of the meeting. And that is it for preliminary comments. So I'm going to invite Director Clark to please read the land acknowledgement.
We acknowledge we are gathered upon the ancestral lands of the Muckleshoot Indian tribe, who historically lived throughout the area between the Cascade Mountains and Puget Sound.
Thank you, Director Clark. We're going to move on to 1.07, which is the agenda review. And I'm going to ask Superintendent Vela if there's any changes to the agenda.
President Benno, there are no changes to the agenda.
Move approval of the agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of the agenda, please raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. And no abstentions, so the motion carries. And now going to go to 2.0, which is the recognition of outgoing board directors. And I'm going to call on Superintendent Vela to begin the recognition.
Thank you, President Benno. At this time, I'd like to recognize our outgoing board members, directors, President Benno and Director Hamada. I will be speaking more about Director Hamada's many contributions later in the meeting during my report to the board. I want to start with recognizing President Bento. He has been on the board and appointed since 2021, elected in 2022. One of the themes that I'd like to share in terms of impact to our district are being a thoughtful champion of student voice. Very much so led our district along with my team in making sure we had several ways to do that, and we continue to do that work. In addition to that, focus on equity, CTE, and focusing on staff. He's also been a leader for the LGBTQ+ students and community, He has also done this across the state, also with WASDA, most recently. Sorry, I was not able to attend that as we were both presenting at the same time.
Right.
And then lastly, also played an active role in support, I know, of the superintendent and district goals, as well as our development and the strategic plan, and then moving forward with the implementation of the strategic plan. So wanted to thank you for your work as a board member, and the impact you've made on not only us as a district, but for our students.
Thank you very much.
And now I'd like to turn it over to you and invite you to say a few words.
For sure. I wrote and rewrote some stuff, and I'm still always rewriting because that's the perfectionist educator in me. But I wanted to write some comments. Usually I have not. I just usually made some notes and just kind of freeform talking. But today I wanted to have something a little bit kind of more organized. So dear colleagues, educators, staff, students, and community members, as my time on the board of the Kent School Board draws to a close, I find myself reflecting on my experiences, the progresses we've made together, and the lessons learned in creating an inclusive, equitable, and supportive educational environment for all students and staff in Kent School District. Over these almost 3 years, I have had the privilege of serving on this board and the honor of leading you as your president for the past year. It's been a journey that's been marked by challenges and triumphs, and by conversations that pushed our boundaries and actions that paved way for change in our district. We've encountered some moments that kind of tested our values, and I'm going to speak on those a little bit. I'm really glad we didn't ban books as a district. We don't need to ban books, and we need to remember that. And I'm very glad that we were able to do what's right for students. As a champion for LGBT plus students, I've been doing trainings and supporting queer youth for 20-some years, and we need to remember that we need to support them. Queer youth aren't always given the things that they need. They're not always treated well, so it's up to us as the adults in the room, as the board, to make sure that we have knowledge and experiences that'll help us to support our students. I know that even me as a queer person, I'm not always treated well by folks, but I hope that our students never have to kind of deal with what I've experienced, and I want us to always remember that. And being someone that is actively supporting and advocating for queer people, I just want to make sure that that doesn't go away just because I go. We've also had discussions about racial and social justice. We adopted a Black Lives Matter resolution. We included the Kent Educators of Color in many of these discussions, and we as a district need to continue this work. It's hard work, but it's work that we need to continue to do because it's good work and it's important work. We also experienced a teacher strike, and while I'm on the board, and it caused some friction in our district, but as an educator myself, I think it's important as people who are in decision-making areas to remember that we need to listen to our educators. Their environments also affect student environments as the students' learning conditions, and so they work hard every day with our students directly, and I think sometimes, and it's no shade, that I feel like sometimes as an educator, the further we move away from the school, the more we're removed from the students, and we need to always remember that students are our paramount duty. They're why we're here. And so we need to support our educators, compensate them with competitive wages so we can keep them in our district. This is very important. Each of these examples emphasize the importance of our commitment to learning and growth. We have a long way to go as a district, but I'm hopeful that the work will continue in my absence, and I know that it will. I want to acknowledge the work of our community in challenging times, our educators, staff, parents, students, and advocates. It's a very positive thing to see that people want to advocate for inclusive, safe, and empowering spaces for our students. It's been really, truly inspiring as someone in a decision-making capacity to see this work happen. So as a community, please continue the hard work. It's, again, not easy, but it's necessary work that we need to do to support our students. As I step away from this role, I'm filled with gratitude for the support, collaboration, unwavering dedication of the community that we serve here. We have an amazing community, a community that prioritizes dialogue. They embrace uncomfortable discussions. They value diversity in our students and perspectives. I want to also thank the board for the work that we do. Please continue to center students in discussions and decisions that affect them. Remember, again, students are why we're here, and we need to always remember that. The work of the board is far from over. Challenges will always happen, but I'm confident in the dedication of each individual in our community to keep pushing for progress. Embrace these challenges as opportunities for growth, learning, and building a more equitable educational environment. My time here has been eye-opening. I leave with a sense of pride in what I've done and the work that we've accomplished with my colleagues here. And I hope for continued positive change in this district. And as someone who lives in the community, obviously, since I'm on this board, I want to see the great work continue to happen. I've supported schools forever and ever. My family, I always say, as immigrants, my parents came to this country, I was born here. Every part of the school system, my family has been a part of, learning English, special education, gifted ed, sports, music, everything, and that's why I'm an educator today. I couldn't have done it with all those educators in my life who have done positive things for me to understand. I'm always gonna support education. The moment I turned 18, I voted for education, and I will vote in every election and always support education. I've done it since I was 18. I will continue to do that because education is really that important to me. And so in closing, I extend my deepest gratitude to each one of you for your support, collaboration, and dedication. I'll carry the lessons learned here and the connections I made as I embark on my new journey, hopefully being a CTE director someday in the near future, because that's one of the reasons why I didn't run again, because I'm doing this program in hopes that I can, do that. I have a lot of schoolwork and a lot of homework, and so it was time for me to kind of go and figure out my next steps. Have I loved every second on this board? No. No, but I'm glad. I'm always going to tell the truth about things, but I'm really glad I was here, and I'm really glad to work with my colleagues here, because I think that I believe in the power of kind of our collective efforts, and I'm really grateful to have been part of this team and the chance to make a difference for our students and educators. And my husband was not able to be here tonight because he has a rehearsal, but I do want to thank Les. The entire time we've been married, I've been on this board, so he's gonna be really surprised how often I'm gonna be home now, because it's not 2 meetings a month. It is not. And so he's gonna be very surprised to see me more often, but I really want to thank him for supporting me while I've been on this board. So I'll see you around, and I want to thank you all, and I think that's almost my cue to leave, so thank you. Oh, there's something
Not
else?
yet.
Oh, not yet, okay.
I just wanted to again say thank you on behalf of the board and the students, staff, and families of the Kent School District. Thank you so much, and if you would please join me in front of the dais. I have a presentation for you and maybe a photo or two.
Oh, my favorite.
Thank you.
Singing. We sing.
No singing, please.
I know.
1, 2, 3.
Thank you so much. Thank you again. Thank you so much. All right, everyone. Good luck.
Oh, you get the name tag.
Can't forget that.
There's also 17 cookies out there that you must take all of.
Yeah, please take them. And now I'd like to move on to 3.01, which is the oath of office for elected directors. So as secretary to the board, I will administer the oaths of office for our newly elected directors, beginning with Mr. Song, followed by Ms. Margell, and then Mr. Cook. As you heard earlier, Mr. Song has joined us virtually. And hi, Eddie. Good to see you. And I'm going to start with you, Mr. Song. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Andy Song,
I, Andy Song,
do hereby solemnly swear
do hereby solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Washington,
and the Constitution of the State of Washington,
and will faithfully discharge the duties
and will faithfully discharge the duties
of Director of Kent School District, Director, District Number 1,
of Director of Kent School District, Director District Number 1,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations, Director Song. Let's hear it. And at this time, I'd like to invite Ms. Margell to the flag. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Megan Margell,
I, Megan Margell,
do hereby solemnly swear
do hereby solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
that
Support the Constitution.
I will support the Constitution of the United States
And the Constitution of the State of Washington,
and the Constitution of the State of Washington,
and will faithfully discharge the duties
and will faithfully discharge the duties
of Director of Kent School District, Director District Number 2,
of Director of Kent School District, Director District Number 2,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. At this time, I would like to invite Mr. Cook to join me at the flag for his oath of office. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Donald Cook,
I, Donald Cook,
do hereby solemnly swear
do hereby solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Washington,
and the Constitution of the State of Washington,
and will faithfully discharge the duties
and will faithfully discharge the duties
of Director of Kent School District, Director District Number 3,
of Director of the Kent School District, Director of District Number 3,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. Can we for some pictures? I would like to now move to agenda item 4.00, reorganization of the Board of Directors and election of officers.
Superintendent Fowler,
Yes.
would you like to give
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes, I will. Before I do that, I'd like to give an opportunity for our newly elected board members to say a few words. I want to start with Director Song.
Hello. No, thank you guys so much for this opportunity and for allowing me to be flexible with having to join remotely. I know it's not the most preferred circumstances, but I do appreciate it. Wouldn't miss this for anything. I'm going to keep it short. I think the only thing I really want to put out there is that I'm very honored and privileged to be in this role, in this position. At this time, my primary duties and responsibilities is really to outreach and connect with the community so that we can learn and hear from the families, the children, the students, the teachers, and all other aspects of our community members to better improve and enhance the way that our current education system is running. So again, thank you so much for the privilege, and I can't wait to learn and work alongside all of you.
Thank you, Director Song. I'd like to now move to Director Cook.
Hi, I would like to say that I am so happy and proud to have done all the work that I've done to get here, and I want to thank every single one of you that has supported me, and I want you to know that I will do my best to support the mission that we have here, as well as provide that support to all of our constituents here. So even if you didn't vote for me, I am here to help you and here to do what's necessary to get this place where it needs to be. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Director Cook. I'd now like to move to Director Margell.
Thank you, Superintendent Vela. I'd like to thank my family for being here today. I have my mother-in-law, Elaine, my husband, Peter, my mom and my dad, Joanne and David, all here with me tonight. And then also thank you to the community that came to see tonight. It's fun to see so many faces in the audience. I'd like to thank the community for continuing to support Kent School District, and I thank you very much for the opportunity to be able to serve both the students, our administration, our staff, and most of all our students. It is a humbling experience to be able to be here on the dais and just know that to be part of such a great team and know that there are so many lives that are changed by the decisions that we make every day. So thank you very much for the opportunity, and I take it with just knowing the big responsibility and privilege that I have for doing that. I think that we've done good work in the last year that I've been able to be part of this, and I look forward to continuing that work in the years to come.
Thank you, Director Margell, and once again, welcome to Director Song, Director Cook, and Director Margell. Welcome to the team, KSD. And now I'll move to 4.04, reorganization of the board. In the brief absence of a board president and as secretary of the board, I'll conduct the reorganization of the board and election of officers. According to Policy 1210, at the first regular meeting in December, the board will elect from among its members a president and a vice president to serve one-year terms. The term of office will run from the election of officers at the December regular meeting to the election of officers at the December regular meeting of the following year. Every other year, a legislative representative will be elected to serve a two-year term. At this time, I'd like to ask for nominations for board president.
I'd like to nominate Director Margell for board president.
Second.
Been moved and seconded as a nomination, Director Margell. I'd like to now ask if there are any other nominations. Hearing none, I'd like to now close nominations for Board President, Kent School District. I'd like to also now move and call for a vote for Board President. You will vote on each of the members, and in this case, if we one we still have to go through. The vote will be an oral roll call, and a majority 3 is required. When you're called to vote, say aye or no, and raise your right hand. When 3 or more votes take place in favor of one nominee, that nominee wins the seat, and voting discontinues for that office. And I now will call for an oral call. Director Song, what is your vote for president?
I, Director Song, vote for Megan Margell.
Director Clark, what is your vote for president?
Aye.
Director Farrow, what is your vote for president?
Aye.
Director Cook, what is your vote for president?
Aye.
Director Margell, what is your vote for president?
Aye.
That concludes our vote. President Margell Your presidency is effective immediately. I'd like to now move to vice president nominations.
I nominate Director Farrar.
Second.
I nominate Donald Cook.
Second.
Been moved and seconded for Director Farah, moved and seconded for Director Cook. Are there any further nominations? At this time, I move to close nominations. Once again, please only vote for one member for vice president. The vote will be by oral roll call, and a majority 3 is required. When you are called to vote, say aye or no and raise your right hand. When 3 or more votes take place in favor of one nominee, that nominee wins the seat and voting discontinues for that office. In the event of a tie, a 2-2 tie, voting will start over via a second roll call vote between the 2 board members who are tied. I will now move to vote on Vice President Director Farah. Director Song, what is your vote for Vice President?
No.
Director Clark, what is your vote for Vice President?
Aye.
Director Farah, what is your vote for Vice President?
Aye.
Director Cook, what is your vote for Vice President?
No.
And Director Margell, what is your vote for Vice President?
Aye.
As stated earlier in the oral roll call, when there are 3 votes or more votes that take place in favor of one nominee, that nominee then wins the seat and voting discontinues at that time. I am closing the voting for the Vice President. Vice President, effective immediately, will be Director Farah. I would now like to move to legislative representative nominations. I open the floor for nominations for legislative rep.
I nominate Director Song.
I nominate Director Clark.
So I have a Song, a second, and then I believe, Director Farah, you have a nomination?
Director Clark.
Second.
And I have a second. I ask if there are any further nominations for legislative rep. I will now close nominations for legislative rep. I will start for the oral vote with Director Song. You will vote for each of the nominated members. You will vote for each of the nominated members separately. Please only vote for one member for legislative rep. The vote will be by oral vote, as I mentioned earlier, and a majority 3 is required. When you are called to vote, say aye or no and raise your right hand. When 3 or more votes take place in favor of one nominee, that nominee wins the seat and voting discontinues for that office. In the event of a tie, 2-2, voting will start over via a second roll call vote between the 2 board members who are tied. Once again, we are voting now, legislative rep, Director Song. Director Song, what is your vote for legislative rep?
Aye.
Director Clark, what is your vote for legislative rep?
No.
Director Farah, what is your vote for legislative rep?
No.
Director Cook, what is your vote for legislative rep?
Aye.
Director Margell, what is your vote for legislative rep?
No.
I will now move to call for the vote for nominated legislative rep, Director Clark.
I think you start with Director.
Director Song, what is your vote for legislative rep?
No.
Director Clark, what is your vote for legislative rep?
Yes.
Director Farah, what is your vote for legislative rep?
Aye.
Director Cook, what is your vote for legislative rep?
No.
Director Margill, what is your vote for legislative rep?
Aye.
That concludes our voting for legislative rep. Our legislative rep, based on oral vote, will be Director Clark, who will begin effective immediately. The newly elected board has now, we've now concluded the officers. Once again, for the record, we have President Margell, Vice President Farah, and Legislative Rep, 2-year term, Director Clark. The board may now physically reorganize. I'll give a second or two to do that.
You're fine. It's not worth the effort.
Make sure we're all situated. Thank you. I would now like to turn the meeting over to President Margell to begin at item 5.0 of our agenda. President Margell.
Thank you. We're going to begin with the recognition, and I'm excited that I get to do the very first proclamation. And this is for Guest Employee Appreciation Month. Whereas guest employees serve throughout Kent School District, effectively adapting to the culture of each building to provide a continuity of educational services for students. And whereas guest employees are flexible and resilient, providing a bridge between full-time employees and students by stepping in to serve when needed. And whereas guest employees play a vital role in maintaining high levels of education in our schools while enabling staff to engage in professional development and enhance skills and abilities. And whereas guest employees provide coverage for employees to address situations that arise in life. And whereas the service of guest employees keep our students learning and positively contribute to the mission in successfully preparing all students for their futures. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Directors of Kent School District proclaims the month of December as Guest Employee Appreciation Month to recognize the contributions of guest employees and urges all citizens to join in this observance. Signed this 13th day of December 2023 by the Board of Directors and the Secretary of the Board, Israel Vela. I'd like to take a moment, and if you have either currently are one of our guest employees or have been ever in the past, we would love, in fact, if you'd like to be in the future, we would love to have you too. But please stand for a moment to recognize your service that you do for our district and the surrounding districts. I now would like to turn it over to Director Farah.
Thank you, President Margell. I am reading the proclamation for Inclusive Schools Week. Whereas the Inclusive Schools Network and schools around the world have designated week of December 4th through 8th, 2023, an Inclusive Schools Week. And whereas Kent School District is committed to providing an education in schools and classrooms that are welcoming and capable of educating all children. And whereas the educators and staff of Kent School District recognize that each child is unique, learns differently, and therefore learns better if teaching is tailored to their abilities and interests. And whereas the educators and staff and families of Kent School District have been working hard to ensure that our classrooms and schools are characterized as being high-performing and inclusive, and whereas by their efforts to make our schools' classrooms high-performing and inclusive of educators, staff, and families, Kent School District have contributed significantly to building a stronger and more inclusive community. And whereas the educators, staff, and families of Kent School District deserve to celebrate their successes and wish to reflect on how they might even further improve. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Directors of Kent School District encourages schools, classrooms across our district to sponsor appropriate learning and community building activities to recognize Inclusive Schools Week, signed this 13th day of December 2023 by all board directors and Secretary of Board Israel Vela.
Okay, we are now moving on to section 6.0, preliminary communication from the audience. I do want to take a moment to also say that as we will not be having a legislative report this evening, that we are encouraging everybody to get any comments that they have to put them in the blue box now, as we, after our preliminary communication from the audience, we will be closing. And I see a shaking of the head from in the back, so it does not look like we have any preliminary communication, and there is none from online. So I will talk really slowly to give anybody who wants to run back there. Nope, okay. So we are moving on to 7.0, Superintendent's Report.
Thank you, President Margot. Tonight, I was privileged to give the oath of office to our newly elected board members and welcome them to the board once again. These individuals have committed themselves to upholding our district's values and goals and to ensure the best outcomes for our students. Together, we will continue to prioritize our students by providing them with the resources and opportunities they need to succeed. I again extend my congratulations and best wishes to our newly elected board members as they embark on this important journey. I'd also, as I mentioned earlier, like to again thank Leslie Hamada for her contributions as a board member over the last 4 years. A couple of themes that I will share regarding Ms. Hamada. She is a long-standing member or community member that's been contributing to the community for some time. She has been an advocate for students, staff, and family in the Kent School District for quite some time. She has been a student-centered support throughout her 4 years in the Kent School District. She has run a nonprofit in support of young students. She also supported our development and beginning stages of implementation of our strategic plan, in addition to the goals that were set for our district for years to come. Again, thank you to her service to the Kent School District. A shout out to the Kent Laboratory middle school students for collecting 44 bags of food to help support families over the winter break. This is only one example of the many food and supply drives held by our schools each year. I'm so proud of our students and staff for their generosity, both in time and effort, to support the families in our community. Recently, I met with the City of Kent Mayor Ralph and Covington's Mayor Wagner. I have regularly scheduled meetings with both mayors to discuss the successes and opportunities in our communities. By keeping these channels of communication open, we continue to work together in our efforts to serve the greater Covington and Kent communities. As an example of these collaborative efforts, we have begun a new partnership with the Kent Parks and Recreation Department. This partnership initiative, led by Athletics and Activities Director Mr. Brian Smith, will provide access to larger meeting spaces, free of charge. I thank both Brian and Kent Parks for their collaboration, which paves the way for future endeavors aimed at strengthening the bond between the district and the city of Kent and Covington. Please join me in congratulating Executive Director of Community Partnerships, Ms. Carol Cleveland, as a national finalist for the eSchool News K-12 Hero Awards. This prestigious award recognizes the dedicated efforts of educators across the nation. Carol was specifically nominated for commitment to the mental and physical well-being of students in Kent School District. Again, congratulations, Carol. On behalf of Kent School District, I extend my sincere gratitude to our community for their support in passing the Educational Programs and Operations Levy. This demonstrates our collective commitment to providing the necessary resources to continue supporting student success. However, we are disappointed to announce that the Capital and Technology Levy did not pass. The Capital and Technology Levy is critical to continue improving the safety of our campuses, providing students with technology tools and resources, and funding critical repairs across the district. Its failure poses a setback to our ongoing efforts to provide an excellent learning environment for all students. In light of this outcome, it is important for us to understand the concerns and opinions of our community members. I encourage all stakeholders to share their valuable perspectives, suggestions, and ideas in the Capital and Technology Levy survey. You can find a link to the survey on the district and school websites. And please complete the survey before December 19th, if at all possible. We've accomplished many things since the beginning of the school year. Earlier, the Inclusive Schools Week proclamation was read. This is not just a designated week in our calendar, but an ongoing commitment to promoting equity and inclusion in our school district. We firmly believe that every student deserves a supportive and quality education, regardless of their background or abilities. Together, we can foster an inclusive community where every individual is valued, where barriers are overcome, where all students have an equal opportunity to succeed. As we head into winter break, I encourage everyone to take this time to prioritize your well-being and enjoy the company of loved ones. I look forward to welcoming everyone back in the new year with renewed energy and enthusiasm. Thank you, and this concludes my report.
Thank you, Superintendent Vela. I'd like to move on to section 8.0, 8.01, and I turn it back over to you, Superintendent Vela.
Thank you, President Markwell. I'd like to invite to the podium our Associate Superintendent of HR, Mr. Damon Hunter, to begin our presentation of years of service. Mr. Hunter.
Good evening, President Margell, members of the board, Superintendent Vela, Ms. Curry, Ms. Zantello. Before I hand it over to Director Adams, I would like to say that it's always a privilege to honor and recognize our outstanding staff here in the Kent School District and their commitment to excellence, equity, and community.
Good evening. All right, so every year, employees reaching a 5-year anniversary mark with the Kent School District are honored at their school location with a certificate. This is the first year years of service is being brought to the Board of Directors for recognition. And tonight, we are recognizing those that are part of what I like to refer to as our 25 and Up Club. So certificates along with special tokens of appreciation for these employees have been provided at their work site. We're excited to have this additional opportunity to say thank you to this dedicated group of employees here tonight. So a quick review of how this program works. This is based on total years of service with the Kent School District, not inclusive of temporary or substitute positions, and the service isn't always consecutive. While our Excel formulas are not quite magic, we do aim to capture all years with KSD. Staff are honored again at 5-year increments starting at year 5, and for calculating purposes, it's based on the school year that they start, not necessarily a specific day. So for 2023, we have a total of 456 employees who were honored based on a 5-year mark. Tonight will be a special tribute to the 66 in years 25 and above. An invitation to tonight's meeting was extended to all, and I believe we did have a handful that were able to join us tonight. So as we begin with the recognitions, as we announce each year mark, starting with 25, if you are present in the audience, we ask that you please stand to be recognized at your seat. Once we've completed through year 45, we will ask you to come up and we will do a photo with the board. So starting with 25, please stand. I believe we have one with us today, and that is Miss Ashley Dwight. I believe we have two here tonight with us for year 30, and that is Miss Holly Hole and Mr. Tim Martin. Woo! Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, Stacy. Stacy Greenwich, did you stand? Year 35, we have Miss Erica Pito. So while we don't have anyone here for 40 and 45, we wanted to make sure that we were able to recognize Mr. Al Waltner from Kent Ridge, celebrating 40 years. And 45, Miss Pamela Primiani and Mr. Gary Newsom. Also a recent retiree, so we hope we get her back to do our presentation in May as we honor our retirees. All right, and to a quick wrap up here, just thank you, thank you, thank you. We are better because of you guys, and I'm glad we had this opportunity, and thank you for those that were able to be here. So with that, one more round of applause for our for a photo with the board.
Holly in front.
Holly was allowed to be in the back.
Okay, back in there, Wally.
3, 1, 2, 3. One more.
Arnold.
Oh, no worries. No blocking this time. No blocking. Do what I do. 1, 2, 3. One more. Great job.
If I can, I'd like to take a moment to also salute Al Waltner, 40-year veteran. I had the pleasure of working with Al for many years, but he represents the unique talents that we have in our teaching pool. Al is a master of technology and has created numerous new programs, of which the last one, if I'm not mistaken, was actually a partnership with Green River in terms of their technology industry. And just to show you the loop that takes place as these educational institutions interact. I served on the Green River Board of Trustees, and they had just begun their 4-year technology degrees. They have 2 different types. One is basically Microsoft mastery and running the server and repairs and whatnot in that program. And the other one is information cybersecurity, and that is a nationally certified program. And I think it's safe to say none of those graduates will ever be unemployed. And I mention that because Al was building a program with growth that made that continuance on into Green River. We all win.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And since you took the moment, I'm going to take a moment. Pam Permiani is somebody that I know from time being able to volunteer at Fairwood Elementary. I know it says Sunrise on there, but I know she spent a number of years throughout the district. And I'd like to say is she's also a member of the community. And that's what, it's so fun that so many of our teachers live and work in our community, and that we get to be able to see them in the grocery store, and we get to see them at the school. And just thank you so much for all of our teachers that I know sometimes going into Safeway when you don't look your best on Saturday morning. And that, of course, is when the kids show up and say, oh my gosh, you don't exist just in the school. Thank you. Thank you very much for living and working and being such a key part of our community. And I think this is the community why so many of our students will continue to return back to our district for the amazing place that we live. So thank you. And thank you, Pam. We now move on to our consent agenda, and I'd like to see if there is any items that people would like to pull from the consent agenda for discussion.
Madam President, if we could, I'd like to hold 914 gifts.
Any other items that anybody would like to pull?
I don't want to pull them, but I do just want to note that we have 2 grants that deal with outdoor education, and that's the opportunity for, obviously, elementary students to actually be out there in the sticks and see what it's like. And it's a wonderful program, and we got money from the state and one other agency that we are now declaring will continue with that program.
Thank you. Okay. We will discuss the items of, or, sorry.
I'd move approval of 901 through 916 minus 914.
Second.
It has been moved for approval consent agenda items 9.01 through 9.16 with the exception of 9.14, and has been seconded. Can we please vote on this? All those in favor, please say aye and raise your right hand.
Aye.
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 Thank you very much. The motion passes.
Okay, and then I'd like to go ahead and move 9.14 gift acceptance.
Is there a second?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to open discussion and approval of 9.14 gifts, donations, and/or memorials acceptance. I open discussion.
Yeah, I'd like to acknowledge those people that are supporting the various efforts of our students. At Meridian Middle School for the school fall program, Shutterfly gave a gift of $645.74 in technology. Kent Meridian High School, the student body expenses were picked up by Shutterfly to the amount of $504.61. KM, the girls' basketball team, got a number of items, and they were brought in by Morgan Compton, I believe as a coach, to the tune of $1,500. Kent Ridge, general programming materials came from the Kent Schools Foundation at $922. Kent Meridian got a set of 20 team warm-ups brought by the KM volleyball boosters for $570. Pine Tree Elementary got classroom supplies from the Gessa Foundation, Community Foundation, to the tune of $2,190. Kent Ridge got a robotics program enrichment from Christian Vanoy to the tune of $1,680. Canyon Ridge Middle School met student needs from, again, Shutterfly to the tune of $520.50. Cedar Valley Elementary got ASB support from the McDonald's Corporation to the tune of $996.67. Cedar Valley Elementary got some Steamboat Studios for Title I PTA Family STEAM Night. That was a gift from the Cedar Valley PTA for $800. Ridgewood Elementary purchased Century Activity Pass for the playground. That came from the Ridgewood PTA. That was $3,320. And KM High School's wrestling program got from Kent East Hill Boxing, which basically is going to translate Leslie Hermata, to the tune of $2,000.
Nice.
With that, I move acceptance.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion on item number 9.14? Seeing no other discussion, I moved for approval of item number 9.14, gifts, donations, and memorials acceptance. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Seeing that, sorry about that. Seeing that all have approved, the motion passes. We are now on section 10, informational. Self-descriptive, it's informational.
Actually, I would like the superintendent to talk about 10.04.
Wonderful.
Absolutely. Thank you, Director Clark. Again, this is informational. The board can always ask a question. I'm going to give it a quick stab at the Puget Sound Emergency Radio Network annual licensing fee, radio implementation. It's just an annual licensing. These are radios that we purchased, I'm going to say a couple of years ago. Those radios are critical to the safety of our children in this district. And specifically, our board recalls the most recent network outage. And that network outage not only took down our computers, but also cell phones. There were cell phones that we weren't able to use, particularly, it was very spotty at best. The go-to was these radios. In addition to the radio network system and that system, it is tied into our local law enforcement, among other things. And so I'll stop there and hope that that answers that. But again, I want to thank the community for that a while back in one of the levies. And then this is a licensing that continues to support us. So thank you.
Any other questions on any of the items included in the informational section? Okay. Our next agenda item is final communication from the audience. There was nothing that was added to the beautiful blue box, so we are going to continue to move on to 11.02, which is the board reports and discussion. So I would like to invite Director Song for, if he would like to start us out.
Sure. Thank you guys again. Really looking forward to working with this team, and especially working towards that shared goal of improving the systems and the practices with the Kent School District. I enter this space with very minimal knowledge of the history of the operations, of the way that the board has operated in the past. And just like anything else, I feel like there's a lot of room for improvement, and I'm happy to be a part of that. So again, thank you guys so much, and I look forward to meeting you all in person.
Thank you, Director Song, and I appreciate you finding the technology to be able to make this happen. It was great to be able to see your face on screen tonight. Thank you. Director Clark.
Yeah, I actually have a couple of things. One, we never got around to actually acknowledging the people that made the all NPSL team nominations in football. At the 3A level, the quarterback was Jaden Saley from Kent Meridian, the senior. At running back, a second teamer was L.T. Cole, again a senior from Kent Meridian. At wide receiver, a first teamer was Kyle Brown, again a senior from Kent Meridian. On the offensive line, a first teamer was Ray J. Marino, again a senior from Kent Meridian. Second teamer was Zoe Emery, again a senior from Kent Meridian. The kicker for the MPSL League was in fact Manuel San Juan, again a senior from Kent Meridian. On the defensive side, among defensive linebackers, the second teamer was Jess Neff, an 11th grader from Kent Meridian. And the defensive line, another second teamer was Zoe Emery, again a senior from Kent Meridian. In the 4A NPSL category, interestingly enough, the second team punter was Carlos Nevarez, from a senior from Kent Ridge. Kick returners included Carlos Nevarez, again a senior from Kent Ridge. The all-purpose, the defensive player of the year was Jabaz Tua of Kentwood. On offense, running back Antoine Lee of Kentwood, a junior. At wide receiver, second teamer Jackson DeLay of Kentwood. On the offensive line, Ethan Heidel, a 10th grader at Kentwood. On the defensive side of the ball, first teamer and DBs, defensive backs, Jackson DeLay of Kentwood, and second teamer Zach Hernandez of Kentwood. At linebacker, a second teamer Ezra Moali of Kentwood, and on the defensive line, a second teamer Angela Wilson, a senior from Kent Ridge. Among the journeys that I have made recently, right after Thanksgiving, I went to Springbrook Elementary. Now, you recall with the boundary line changes, one of the objectives was to reduce the size of the student body in the elementaries to make a more equitable distribution. But look at the impact that that had on Springbrook. Springbrook dropped down to the mid-300s in terms of students, but of the diversity challenges, that's one of the buildings that takes a great deal of attention, because of those 300 kids, 100 families do not speak English at home. So you can see that there needs time and consideration, and I was very impressed. The building has worked for a long time on a program to support that type of diversity. The teachers were absolutely wonderful. And when I look at those release half days that you see, that's critical in a place like Springbrook, where you have to have the attention to individual kids to help them overcome the barriers and challenges that they face. I also found myself at Meeker Middle School for their winter musical band show. Of course, the audience was primarily family and friends, which is what you would expect. But when we talk about those levies and the importance of them, the importance of the fine arts and the unique role that that plays in the development of kids became crystal clear. You remember, it's middle school now, that's 6th, 7th, and 8th. And I'm watching a 6th grader come up to the microphone and introduce the jazz band of which he is a part of. Now, he has already been up to Kent Ridge, where all of the high school jazz bands come together and talk about what they're doing and obviously play for each other. But the thing that I ask you to keep in consideration, when you get to that level, it's competition. So it's not about learning the instrument, it's about mastery. And you get into the point, not simply of precision, but finally into nuance. And when you get kids motivated at that level, I can assure you they will stay in school, because it's a well-known fact that kids that participate in extracurricular activities do better academically. And it's because the discipline that they have to basically try and achieve at that higher level. And finally, I made a stop by at KM here this week, and there's nothing like watching a high school unload to see the complete diversity and, of course, the need to clear the area as fast as they can. Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you, Director Clark. Director Cook?
Yeah, so I just want to say I'm happy to be here, and I'm looking forward to working with the other board members toward our shared goal of making the Kent School District the best district it can possibly be. As 2023 comes to a close, I'm looking forward to the upcoming year and encourage our district leadership to work diligently with our labor partners, starting as soon as possible, to work together in their negotiations with the goal of completing this work as soon as possible. I hope that we never come across another situation where we have to scramble to get kids taken care of. I want to never have to worry about what my kids are doing. I want to make sure that we are done with that as soon as possible. So hopefully we can get that done, and that's my goal for the upcoming months. So thank you for electing me, and I hope that I will earn your vote next time. And thanks again.
Thank you, Director Cook. Director Farah?
Thank you all for being here tonight. First, I want to thank the new board members. Welcome. We really look forward to working together and making sure that we always put the kids first. I also want to thank the outgoing board members who have been through so many challenges that this district has gone through, and I want to thank them for the years of service they had given to this district. I also want to thank the families for being here tonight. We all need you because no one self can do this without the support of family. Many times challenges will test you and make sure that your, what's the word I'm looking for? Resolve is utmost, because I know my first year was a very good test year for me. And if I didn't have my family support, I don't think I would be able to go through it. So thank you for being here and supporting any one of us that is on this dais. I also want to thank those who served our district for many years. This is a very important job because the cargo is the most precious cargo. And I want to make sure that we recognize them, thank them, and always make sure that they know they are utmost important to us. I want to make sure that we always recognize that we may not agree on everything, but the most challenging thing is to make sure that our kids are the focus, not anything else. So as far as I'm concerned, I will always make sure I put kids first, because that's why I'm sitting here. The day I was elected, I said, and I meant it, I have become the father of 24,000 kids. And that's what I mean. Every day I do this, I think of that. 2023, we've gone through so many challenges and many achievements. And I really want to make sure that we celebrate. Without the challenges, I don't think we would appreciate the milestones that we have achieved. I don't want to dwell on them, but we all aware of the year. Since the year is coming to a close, we look forward to 2024, and we will welcome all challenges, and achievements, because again, the focus is our kids. I'm operating on 2 hours sleep, and I can tell you this, it has been difficult. I've traveled from Africa, and I landed this afternoon, and I'm sitting here tonight, and I'm looking at the clock, and I'm saying, the only reason I'm up is because of the time difference. Over there is already morning, so I'm able to stay up, but it has been difficult. So I'm here because of our kids. Because of our kids, I will sacrifice sleep. So I want to close by thanking the staff. And you have to understand this. You know, this job is not an easy job, but know this. While I'm sitting here, I want to let you know I appreciate you. Because of you, we would not be able to achieve the things that we have achieved. So I really want to thank you for that. And I will never stop doing that as long as I'm on this dais. Thank you, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Director Farah, and thank you for also getting here. Yes. And as I know that I am between you and your pillow.
Yes.
And everybody else who has had a very long day here too, I will try to keep mine under 3 minutes. Let's see how good I do. Okay, so first I would like to thank our former president, Joe Benno, and former director, Leslie Hamada, for their service to the board, and welcome Directors Song and Directors Cook. I'm looking forward to continuing the good work of Kent School District here with everybody's help. I did want to mention our time spent at WASDA, Washington State School Directors Conference. There are 1,477 school directors in the state of Washington, and we have an opportunity once a year to be able to get together and be able to share best practices and hear what districts are doing. And there's a lot of good work going on in the state of Washington. I got to be able to hear many different presentations, both from administration, from students, and what really stuck out for me is the student voice. And I know it's been something that we've talked a lot about in this district, and I am really excited to know that we are continuing that work and hearing some really exciting things coming from that as we go into 2024. I also just appreciated a great class that we all did together as directors on diversity and inclusion training. Speaking of 1,477 directors in the state, I want to give a shout out to North Thurston School District, who just swore in all of their directors. North Thurston School District is the largest school district in their county, and for the first time ever have an all-female school board. And I think that's a pretty cool thing, and so I want to shout out the good work that they're doing there. Being on the board is challenging. It is way more than 2 meetings a month. It cannot be possible without our family that supports us, our community that is picking up my kids from swim and soccer tonight, and thank you very much for that. And it is also inspiring and good work. I think President Benno did a very good job of talking about the work and how much we get from doing it. I'd also like to say that had great meetings at being able to tour River Ridge Elementary and Meridian Middle School, kind of the bookends of our new and old of the district. We were honored to also have Representative Stearns from the 47th join us in seeing those schools. I'm humbled by the support of the community, the families, the teachers, the staff. And I'd also like to say, anybody that puts their name in the hat to go and be a school director, thank you very much. The election process is hard. to do, but it is such a cornerstone of the democratic process. And I am thankful for everybody that participates in that. Thank you very much to our teachers. Thank you to our guest teachers in the month of December. And I will always end with thank you for our students. This is why we do it every day. I hit 3 minutes, and thank you very much. Have a good evening. It is 7:45, and I am adjourning this meeting.